Yes, so we are live. We can wait for 5 minutes, I guess, to people to join, and then we can get started.
Rishraj, you are on mute, I guess.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I guess we can get started with the session now. So hello everyone. We have three very interesting talk sessions on 6th November and 7th November, and now it's time to get started with the DSC Alumni Panel Session. And since it's a DevFest, so we should have had a panel session, and here we are with it. So we have our alumni here who were a part of the DSC 2019-20 of DSC-NITS. So we have Tukan Datta Bhaiya here. We have Nazimul Haq Bhaiya here, Ankit Srivastav Bhaiya here, Manish Upadhyay Bhaiya here, and Mering Dao Hojai Bhaiya. So I guess we should get started. So there's the first question that I had for every one of you. What impact has DSC brought in your lives? So I would like to get started with Tukan Bhaiya. I want you to answer the question.
Okay, so the impact that DSC had on our lives is that I'll not only speak about myself, I'll try to generalize it. I'll try to speak about the impact that DSC has on most of our lives. Is that knowledge? Actually, knowledge is something that the more we share, the more we gain. So when you take classes for juniors, it helps. Every day we come up with something new. When you take classes for the juniors, for any workshops for them, every day we learn something new. And also apart from that, like we also have that stage fear. Everyone has that stage fear. When before joining DSC, every one of us have that stage fear, means speaking in front of a large crowd. After joining DSC, I think we have overcome that fear. Now we can confidently go and give a speech in front of a large crowd. So I believe that as a technique, I mean, it's not only sufficient to be only a technically sound person. You also have to have that good communication and speaking skills. Because if you don't have a good speaking or communication skills, then I think you cannot express you 100% in front of the people. In front of HRs or in the interviews also, you cannot express you 100% when you don't have that confidence and that good speaking or communication skills. So DSC has helped us improve in our personality, in our communication skills, and also as a technical background, it's like this has done a great job in our lives.
Okay, thank you so much. Nazimal Bhaiya, what would be your answer to this question?
Well, I will just divide it into two parts, like a technical and a personal part. In terms of the technical part, when we are teaching or sharing our knowledge to juniors, we have to make sure that we can answer each and every question that they may throw us. So when we are learning on our own, then we may skip some topics and just start coding. But when we join DSC, or when I joined DSC, what happened is that I have to go into each topic in more depth. I was an Android developer, but after joining DSC, I have to go into more code of Android operating system and so on, so that I can answer those questions. Other than from a technical perspective, from a management or personal perspective, I would say it has, just like Tukan said, it has removed the stage fear that I had before. Other than that, I have also learned how to manage things. Like we have to organize workshop, classes, and for that we have to take permission from our college administration for different venues, and also for events we have to collaborate with sponsors or different partners. So I would definitely say in those regards, DSC has helped us a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. Ankit Bhaiya, what would be your take on this?
Yeah, so as Naji and Tukan said, so in terms of teaching, it has helped a lot, because when we taught to juniors, it's like we have to take the responsibility of what we are teaching, not only what we are taking, what we are talking, but it's important that what they learn from this has to be some responsibility behind this. So this is one part behind joining DSC has improved a lot. Secondly, we have done projects like group projects. What happens in a group project? You can learn a lot of things very frequently, like very regularly basis. If you do something by your own self, you will learn definitely, but the speed is not that much when you learn when you do some group projects. So it will help in that way also. And one more thing which helps individually is personality development, which is very much important in joining any career or going to the going to the professional life. So that's thing which DSC helps a lot.
Yeah. Okay, Bhaiya. Manish Bhaiya, what would be your answer on this question?
Yeah, the first motto of DSC is that learning, empowering, sharing, teaching, and encouraging. So what Developer Student Club does is that when we teach someone and we get that knowledge from someone, then we are in a repeated cycle, right? So what I have learned when I joined DSC means when we created the club considering DSC, then we were just young. We had certain stage fright. We had certain problems regarding our personality, how to express our views. But when we went there and taught our juniors, and when we got to learn a lot through that process, that made a great change in the personality. That made a great change even in our coding skills, because we had to be absolutely clear in our problems. If anybody approaches us with a problem, we have to solve that problem, because they depend on us to encourage them. So DSC has had a huge impact in my life and everybody's life as a community. It serves the greater purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Meding Bhaiya, what is your answer on the question?
Okay. Okay, am I audible right now? Because my internet is a little bit slow.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so
I guess there's some network issue.
before I was this thing.
Bhaiya, I guess you can turn off your
My
video,
audio-
then it will be more clear.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to start like when we didn't have the DSC in our college before, like we had this coding club. So the students were going to the club and the seniors were teaching stuff in coding and all this. But with DSC, there was a lack of unity in our college. Had this group of like-minded people learning Android, web, machine learning, all those things. But after we had the DSC, like now we have this very good community in our college. Like we are teaching stuff to our juniors and we are building things together. So we learned a great deal amount of things from this. So DSC had a really good impact on us, and it helped us grow our development skills, and it really helped us grow a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you, everyone, for the starting question. And we believe that people have understood what impact DSC can bring in their lives, and in future, if they join DSC, what can they experience. So now I'd like the moderators to carry forward the session. Ujjwal, over to you.
Good evening, seniors. So my question is to Tukan Bhaiya. Bhaiya, how can one establish a student developer students club in an institution? So what are the steps and how this procedure goes on?
Okay, so for creating a DSC in your college, like the first thing, as Maring also said, like to gather the like-minded people, like the students who are willing to volunteer themselves, who are willing to contribute to the community to build something for the society. First and foremost thing is to make and gather that like-minded people, and then secondly, second most of the steps are simple. You have to go in the initial summer days during the April and May. The portal will be open for applying DSC lead, and you can go and apply there. There's the DSC website. It's there in the Google developers website. You can go there and apply for the DSC lead, and then there will be interview schedule for you. You have to give an interview. It will be half an hour to 1 hour interview will be there, and then if you are got selected, then you can open a DSC chapter in your college. But opening a DSC is a different thing, but running the DSC altogether is a different thing, because while running the DSC you have to manage all the classes, workshops, everything. You have to manage them. You have to take classes, also events. So I think the main thing is that gather the people, because they are your power, because you have that core team who is always ready to give the time for you. So that's the main thing, to gather the people. That's the only difficulty you can face. But I don't have such problem, because because when I asked Nazimul, Maring, or Manish and Ankit, all were ready at the first instance. I asked them about forming the core team. They were ready at the first instance. So I don't have that problem. I didn't have that problem.
Okay, Bhaiya. Thank you, Bhaiya.
My question is next to Nazimul Bhaiya. So I would like to ask him, what do you think are the important skills required to become a core team member of the DSC club?
Well, from a technical point, you have to choose what module you are going to focus on. Like you can also focus on everything in terms of execution, but if you go into choosing a module, then you have to be at least have some decent skills regarding those modules. If you are Android developer, you should have a skill to develop an Android app and push into a Play Store. If you are going for a web module, then you should be able to make a web application or website. So in terms of technical, you should be sound. Other than that, what I think the most important skill for DSC is the enthusiasm. Okay, so just like Tukan said, opening a DSC and running is two different things, and you have to do a constant commitment. You have to have a constant commitment. Someday you might not feel great in terms of health. You might have some other task. You might have friends. So you have to have the enthusiasm and the dedication to commit to those events and those long schedules of classes. So I do feel like a good technical expertise and a great enthusiasm. And also one most important thing is that the teamwork, because you might have some point of view how a particular event should be organized, and the team might have some other point of view. So you have to compromise and adjust according to the changing environment. You can't just go on your own. So you have to adapt.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Moving on to the next moderator.
Hello, Ankit Bhaiya. I would like to ask a question that, as Tukan Bhaiya said, that establishing a DSC and operating it are two different things basically. So what happens is sometimes juniors join the DSC, and some juniors they just don't join DSC. Just they don't realize the importance of the development in their lives. Like development is something which is like directly related to our life. So how can we make them realize the importance of the development in their professional career, in their lives, like everywhere? Like development is the kind of field that plays a very really important role. So how can we make them realize that importance of the development?
Okay. So yeah, so coming to the juniors, if some juniors are not joining the DSC or not choosing any field related to development, so if firstly they have to be interested in any field, like if they are not interested, it's very tough to make them feel that. But if they are interested and they are not, they have not realized the importance of development. So what we can do is, you can organize workshops, you can organize events, or you can organize classes. So mostly what happens, some students didn't know that there something is going on. They just sit in the room, do something, and just end their whole day that doing this only. So most of them don't know what's going on in the campus. So if you do, if you can spread the news and do workshop regularly and some events which can create some great audience. So in this way, we can manage a great audience. Then some people will realize, yes, there is an importance of development, because if in future career where you have to do this, it's like we have to do this in development field. It's part and parcel of our life. So we have to do that.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Yeah, I also want to add like a point in that why development is important, because like being a developer, it's like you have that potential to create a value in someone's life, to impact the society. You can create anything, you can build some creative projects or anything that has means like that adds some value to someone's life, to people, to the society. So when you successfully build something and people acknowledge your product, like people appreciate your work, that's the best feeling being a developer you can have. So I think that's why like we are more enthusiastic to our development.
Basically, we are getting a way to contribute to our society directly, like in a way, basically. Thank you, Bhaiya.
So good evening, everyone. My question is to Manish Bhaiya. So Manish Bhaiya, when it comes to about the placement, so there is a chaos in the mindset of the pre-final year students and the final year students, that what should we choose, either the development or the competitive coding or the coding section. So where should we go? What should be the path for them? Can you just explain in detail?
Okay, the main thing is that when you're doing a competitive coding, which is a basic requirement during your placement session, so that they can judge you through a assessment that you are good in various data structures and algorithms. But where are you applying those data structures and algorithms? Where are you applying those things in the corporate life? Whatever you are doing, it's just in those web field or an Android field or an machine learning field. So you are solving those problems using those data structure and algorithm. When you are doing development, you get the basic idea foremost that how we are solving those problems, how we are using the recent technologies like React, Angular, Vue. These are very popular front-end technologies that are used in corporate. And when it comes to backend, there is Java, JavaScript. So these things, if you go through how learning the development process, then it will certainly help you during your placements. For example, if you go through a technical round of interview, then you will have a face-to-face interview with the interviewer from a corporate. So he will be asking you some basic DSA questions, but he will always check your projects, how good you are in your projects. He may ask you some situations related round, that how will you manage those situations. And if you are a part of DSC, part and parcel of a DSC, then you already have that edge over others, that how we'll handle those situations, how can we overcome those problems that arises. So many people are reluctant to join DSC, but that is the edge over others. So you have to create a balance between coding and development to be good at your placements. But if you are trying to build an open source career, then you can certainly go for only development. You can contribute to open source, you can create your own languages, you can create your own compilers, you can do everything. Development is not restricted to certain building a web application or Android application. It is everything. It is developing and creating your basic idea, your mindset. That's all.
Also, I want to hello.
Yes,
I also want to add a particular thing, a misconception in many students, in many juniors, that they feel like the companies are going to give them training, and then why should we learn a particular technology? We won't be using those technology in the company. For example, if you are a web developer and you are going to get applying for a job in a company who is not so web heavy, then why should you learn development? So I want to point one particular thing. Yes, they may give you training, but to understand those training or to perform better in both interview and in your corporate life, what's the most interesting thing they observe is the architectural knowledge. That is how you plan your development. Development or coding is not just opening the ID and just typing some codes. It's also about how you plan those things and how you deploy them. So this is also, don't fall into this misconception that they will give us training, so maybe our technology will be obsolete. It won't be, because you will getting the knowledge of the planning and architectures.
Okay, thank you very much for adding valuable things.
Hello, Bhaiya. My question is for Maring Bhaiya. Like now we know development, like now we know how to develop apps, but our main focus is solving real world problems. So what should be the first step we should take in solving real world problems, and how to approach and how to solve the problems that we face in the life in solving real world problems?
Okay, so I hope I'm audible. So at first, what you need to do to build a solution to some kind of problem is that you need to know what kind of capabilities you and your team have. So because when you're building something, you're probably working with a group of people. So at first you need to know what kind of thing you can build to do something. And then what you must do is that you have to have someone to communicate with the local people, like local businesses or any person who you can help with technology. For example, like if you talk about our college, we have all our different kind of shops nearby, so we can have some kind of delivery system. And recently Rishra has also built this thing called the attendance application. So these are very small things that you can build to help a small particular group of people, because right now we are students and we want to target a huge group of people, like whole town or some solve the problem for this particular town. That is a very big problem. Like you cannot solve it just with a small amount, but there are small things like you can solve with people. You can make an app for the college canteens to deliver stuff to the in the college campus. And you can, and we also have laundry and stuff, and like so many things you build. And the first and most important solving any kind of problem, you have a proper team, a group of people who knows what they're doing. You need to know your capability to do and solving problems. You need to have some communicate problems so you. Okay, that's it from my side.
Yes. Good everyone again. Ankit, know that there are a lot of front-end frameworks available these days. So, as a full-stack developer, how do you choose a framework for a project, or what are the properties that you see in a framework before choosing it? Be it any framework like React, Angular, or Vue, or any other frameworks for any developmental work. What are the properties that you see in a project in a framework?
Okay, so basically it's not needed that you have to learn, you have to see every framework and then to choose. You can start any framework. What I see behind choosing any framework is which has the less time to learn that framework, which has the less time. So behind that thing is because if you are a full stack developer, you have to do both the backend coding as well as the front end coding. So in the front end coding, you can choose any framework. Depends on what it depends upon your project. So if your project is too big, but generally what you do project done by a bachelor student, then it's not a bigger size of project. So then you can choose any framework like React or Vue. It's not dependent on why I choose React over Angular is because Angular in React we used to have only through JavaScript, while in Angular we have to use TypeScript. So the learning curve in choosing using Angular is much more than in React. So yeah, it's depend on person to person. It's very subjective. It's not like if someone is using Angular, then he is wrong, or someone is using React is right. It's depend on person to person and project to project. But generally, if you are in a college, you can choose React over Angular. In my perception. Thanks.
Okay, Bhaiya. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you, Bhaiya. My question is to
on this point.
yes.
Okay, so like what I want to say is that when you're choosing some kind of frame, you don't need to choose like actual, like you have to do React, you have to do Vue or any kind of thing, because when you're learning development, you have to learn development, like right, you have to actually present your codes, because in a development world, when you're working as a software engineer, working in a group, so you need to write a code, very presentable code that is testable, that can be managed, that can be understood by so which we can do something, but you have to have a basic core idea of how to write code in a development team. That in that way, like you can, after when you're working in a company, like probably you are going to be assigned to some kind of team, but the thing is that technology changes every time. Like in a year, like there are hundreds of different technologies and frameworks that comes out, and it's not enough to learn all of them, but if you have the basic principles, like jumping from one framework to another language or any kind of framework is just a piece of cake. Like there are, like when people ask me, like, is learning many kinds of languages a good thing? But the thing is that the basic one thing that is development in one language or another is just a piece of cake.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bhaiya, for adding to it. Now I would like to ask Nazimul Bhaiya a question. So in recent times, after 2018, when Dart was launched and then Flutter came in, there has been a boom of cross-platform applications, and people are increasingly moving to it. Whereas we are some kind of people who are into native more. So what is your opinion on native apps versus cross-platform apps?
Well, when I remember when Flutter was still in beta phase and I was doing extensively coding on Java, it is native. I would say yes, the cross-platform app development has a lot of scope nowadays, because what the industry is moving forward right now is quite a fast-paced environment. So you have a deadline and you have to push the app in the deadline in as many devices as possible. So back then, in 2-3 years ago, native application development was quite popular, and I would still say that if you have a very big and specialized application, and deadline is not the biggest restriction, then you should opt for a native development because it provides better support and compatibility with the platform. But other than that, if you are doing a medium scale or small scale project, cross-platform are providing a great potential, since you don't need to develop in all the different platforms, separate apps. And also, I recently heard that came to know that Dart code, Flutter codes were compatible with the web also nowadays.
Website as well as Apple iPhone as well.
Yes, so just imagine how it has reduced the work by 3-fold. Yeah. So I would definitely say cross-platform app development is great, unless you are making a highly specialized or a big project.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. Now moving on to the next moderator.
Hello, Bhaiya. My question is to Mehring Bhaiya. If there is someone who wants to learn Android development, and there are many new languages like Flutter is there and Java is there. So what will you advise him to learn, Java or Flutter?
Also Kotlin as well, I'd like to add, since Kotlin is the new.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. I like to do my internships and while working.
Bhaiya, your voice is breaking, I guess, due to network issues.
There are some features where we have to
Hello, Bhaiya.
I think his voice is not clear.
Hello.
I think there is some connectivity.
Yeah, the voice is breaking.
1 second.
Yeah, connectivity issue, voice is breaking.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Bhaiya.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible now. Yeah.
Okay, so I like when you're learning Android, like when I work with Flutter, I realized that there are many different kind of things that you cannot just do completely in Dart, right? So for example, like a GPS solution, or if you want to find the battery level of the Android device, you have to go to native site and then transport that code to the Dart site. So in the end, when you're also working with Flutter, you need to have a knowledge of Android, and if you have to work some features that specific iOS, you have to learn code in the iOS code. So in the end, even though you're working with Flutter, you have to write, you have knowledge of Java, or you have a good knowledge of iOS development, so that you can integrate both of. In the end, like when you're starting Android, I'd like to say that, and Java is the better language to start with, simply because Java has a lot of basic principles. So it teaches you a lot of object-oriented design, and the style of development you learn from Java is applicable to different kinds of languages. And because Dart is more like a functional type of programming, similar, is very, I mean, combination of JavaScript. So even though it's a very, I mean, it's a very good language to code, thing that is you over something Dart or Java. I mean, very basic. So Java, preferable to start with Java, go to Kotlin, and then later to Dart.
Okay, so as you suggested, we should start with the beginners should start with Java, then move to Kotlin, and then go with Dart, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Moving on to Samir. Yeah.
My question is to Tukan Bhaiya. Actually, as a developer, sometimes students try to develop web scrapers, they design crawlers, and while designing crawlers, sometimes they feel that it seems illegal. So there is always a confusion about this thing, that whether this crawling thing is legal or it isn't. So what is your view about this?
I think I have not developed any crawl, and it's like I have developed one, but I have also developed using someone else code. Like I don't like to say that, but I think Manish can say better about it because he has also worked on a crawler recently.
Yeah, thank you, Tukan. I have a project on web scraping.
Yes, man.
Yeah, sure. I have a project on web scraping. So basically, I will get a project there. Then I created a crawler using Cheerio, one of the libraries of Node.js. So basically, what happens is that you have to have that particular, means if the site is allowing you to get its content, like if it is a free content and that is directly visible, then you can crawl through the site, or you can scrap the site for information, and that creates a good environment for your application to get real-time data from the different sites. So one thing is that, and if any site is having some information that is copyright, which is written in the terms and privacy that it has copyright issues, then you cannot scrap information through it. If you get through, then you can have legal issues based on that. They can sue you for infringement. So you have to take into consideration certain facts, and most companies are getting those free information which are there in government portal or something else, and they are using those. So this whole process is known as seamless integration. So you are integrating all those things that are there in different websites, and then we are using the scrapping modules for the same.
Right. Actually, I just thought that like representing a project which has a scraping or crawling included in your CV when in front of interviewer, how does that make impact? How does that make impact in front of the interviewer?
Yeah, it's very impactful because most of them today, the information from most of the sites are taken by different sites through proper permission and everything. So once we participated, me, Tukan, and others participated in hackathon. There they genuinely asked us for integrating a seamless integration module. So we hadn't implemented that yet, but we later implemented it, and we showed them, and they were impressed by the same, because it is today's technology. Means everything wants to be automated, right? So you're integrating sites from different you are integrating information from different sites, and the main thing is that everybody wants specialization. Even if there is Facebook, there is LinkedIn. Even if there is Facebook, there is an Instagram. Even if there is some website, there is a specialized website. So you are getting all the information in the same website. That is what we want in today's world, and that is the recent trend, and it's a good addition to the project, Samir. Yeah.
And also, Samir, I want to add one thing. If you talked about including the project in your CV, so make sure that you know how to answer. They might ask you about those legal issues, copyright issues. They might even ask you that will you crawl any website, or can you give us an example of a website which is crawlable, means which should not make you fall into a trouble issue. So just be prepared.
Yes, Bhaiya. Thank you, Bhaiya. I got your
Yeah,
point.
I want to like add something to Samir. So if you want to do scrolling, then you can do it for personal projects, any project. But if you are doing this doing this scrolling thing for a commercial project, or you are making it public to all the people, then you can land into some problem by the company owners if they have some copyright issue or they have not, because you haven't take any permission behind that. While any other commercial company, like you have seen many ads come where they show the website, like what Google is doing right now, they are showing all the various sites information of all the shopping e-commerce website. So what they do is they already make some agreement behind this, then they do this. But if you are doing this by your own self, then you can do it for development purpose, for just for your own self, but you can't make it public or you can't make it commercially available to all the people. That's when the issue arises. Otherwise it is okay.
And
Also, they
also
have a
make sure that
production
don't.
level products available right now.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Many companies like Apache also provides like production level crawlers. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's like if it's allowed from the website or from the company's side, you can it's like write it in your CV also.
And also make sure that if you are crawling into a free website, also don't block and avoid traffic. Just don't block those servers
Yeah.
by sending
Yeah.
requests.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just block the IP. I think
Yeah.
I faced
They
that.
will block the IP.
They
Yeah.
block IP sometimes. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Moving on to Aditya.
So my question is to Manish Bhaiya. Like to be an expert in the web dev, one has to be the very clear and precise with the concepts of the JavaScript, because the JavaScript as being the heart and the soul of the dev. And more talking about the new trends in the dev that can be either in the cross-platform, just like the ML, Android, or the web. So can you just suggest some, in short, explaining about the roadmap approach towards the advanced JavaScript and how it provides the cross-platform services with such new trending fields?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to add that JavaScript is a very beautiful language. When you start coding in JavaScript, you get that feel that you are doing something very easily. You get that flow that you don't have to go for a different variable declarations. You don't have to go something for, you just declare where and your variable is declared. You just go through any data can be directly transferred into a variable. So that is the most important fact of JavaScript. And functions also you don't have to define. So everything is dynamic typed, right? There is two different types of typing. The one is a static type language and one is dynamic type language. So considering the oops, also I would like to add that the oops in JavaScript is also not particularly a class. It's just a prototype if you go for old JavaScript. So there are very JavaScript developed through various sections, like it was initially ECMAScript 5, then it moved on to ECMAScript 6, ECMAScript 7. So that way the JavaScript developed, it helped to write less and less code. So we are using ECMAScript 6, we are using arrow function instead of the normal functions, callback functions. So, and promises, spread operator, rest operator, different operators are there. So in one line, you can return a function and return a callback function in the same, which could have taken much lines. But there are certain disadvantages to the same, because most disadvantage to writing in JavaScript is debugging. That's why TypeScript came into play, because when it comes to debugging, you don't find your errors very easily in JavaScript, because there is no particular type defined to any particular variables. So when it comes to TypeScript, there are types defined for the variable. You have to write a little bit more, but the same feel and environment that comes with JavaScript. Coming to, as Myring was also saying, and others were also saying regarding frameworks, Ankit was also saying regarding frameworks, there are different frameworks like React, Angular, Vue. You try to use those frameworks, you see that those frameworks that makes you write easily. We are developers, we are lazy people, right? We have to write less, we need work more, right? We have to think, but we have to write less, we have to write code less. So in that perspective, we have to think. But when you're working now, if you want to go for advanced JavaScript, you have to go through various concepts, like various concept comes higher order functions in React, and classes, how classes are used as a prototype in JavaScript, what is the this operator. These are certain interview questions that generally are asked, mainly the this operator. This operator has also a great influence in how you are going through different sections of your code, from the nesting part and going back to the nesting part. So this, if you are good at JavaScript, you can learn anything. I'm telling you, React, Angular, anything. It will be very easy for you. And next part of the question is cross-platform. Recently, I've been in touch with TensorFlow.js. I've used some inbuilt MobileNet, this one inbuilt model that was known as MobileNet for image classification. So the flow was very easy. You just have to integrate the same. You have to write the same JavaScript code. You just have to use certain libraries, so the same, and you can integrate easily. The Google is also encouraging the more use of JavaScript in machine learning, and more using of the same language will help you to not learn any new language like Python or something else. So you are integrating the same thing in JavaScript. So it's a very beautiful language. I love the language, I'm telling you, and that's the main fact. And regarding React Native, which is also used for doing Android development, which is also cross-platform in the sense. So just last word, that JavaScript is very beautiful language. You should focus on it, and it will be very great. It will help in your development.
Thank you very much, Bhaiya.
Thank you, Bhaiya. So it's been yes, Bhaiya.
Yes, Sakun Bhaiya.
Actually, one junior just texted me, just asking me what is crawling, what is a crawler.
Okay.
So actually, I want to clarify if someone also said the same doubt. What crawling means, like it's like a bot or a program that reads your source code, and if there's any other links to any other websites, it goes to that website, gather information from that, and in that way it creates like a tree. It's like it goes on gathering information from all the websites. It's like how Google extract information. When you search something in your like in your search bar, you can see like there is millions of search results coming. How does that in such a small time? So it's like that's where crawling comes. And so like there is a Google crawlers are there always. They will first crawl the entire database and then gather information, and then they will store that in the database, index them in the database, and then when you search something, the keyword, suppose like you are searching NIT, so the NIT keyword is used to search from the database. Now what the crawler does is, crawler is not searching, crawler is means like it's reads the entire, it goes through entire internet, and it's read through all the web pages, all the websites, and then gathers information from them. So that's what is a crawler. It's like a spider, typically termed them as a spider. And web scraping, I think scraping and crawling, like they're means like similar terms, but not exactly same. Scraping means like downloading, or like downloading can be said as scraping, I guess. So that's the thing between web crawling and web scraping.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaiya. So seniors, we have had a 40-minute of session. Now I guess we can take 1-2 questions from the YouTube chat section, because we are having a loads of questions on there as well. So any of you who would want to answer can go with it. So let me take up some questions. There's a question: Is coding everything? I mean that I took part in a couple of hackathons where about 50% of the things was not coding; it was writing skills, presentation skills, etc. Any suggestions on this?
Yeah, I can say that. Yeah, means if you are that, I already said that like if you are technically sound person, it's not only enough. It's not only sufficient to be technically sound person. You have to have that communication skill, so that you can express your 100% potential in front of everyone. Because like in the hackathon also, the coding part is like they allow you to do the 60% to 70% coding in the home itself. Like, and when you go there, you just show them the prototype. But the main thing is how you present them. It's like you have a simple idea, but how you present them, the presentation is the main important part.
I want to add one thing. While making presentation, you are learning Photoshop and some design techniques, and also you are learning more about the architecture, how you are designing the product, because you have to show the product design. You may imagine like a flowchart. So that is a very important skill, that is designing the architecture, that is the plan, and also a basic Photoshop skills is always a good thing to have.
Yes.
Rishiraj, I would like to also add one more point to this. Yes, that being a developer doesn't mean that you're to the YouTube code section. That being a developer, it doesn't mean that you just learn the technical knowledge. You are just typing in your code. Being a developer means developing something means you are developing yourself. You are developing yourself through overall, like from personality development point of view also. You are expressing your views very properly so that people listen to your views and people learn through your views. That is what a developer is. You are developing yourself constantly. You are not satisfied with what you are never satisfied with your project, that this project is done. You are always developing and developing. That's what makes you a developer rather than just writing code. So if you're going through certain presentation and everything, so it's good for, means it's good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We have two more questions which are almost the same. I would like to read out both of them and then we can get the answer. How should one prepare for project-based questions in the successive rounds of programming interviews? And another question is related to projects. What do recruiters actually look for? A project based on a very popular tech stack or a unique project based on some new tech?
Okay, I think I can answer this question.
Yes, sure, Bhaiya.
When considering for a project that is for interview, I will just answer it in interview perspective.
Yes, Bhaiya.
So what project you make, it doesn't matter what technology you are using. See, we are always struggling, and we are also always making quarrels what technology is better, web, Android, and so on. But what matters the most at the end is the basic knowledge. In your college, you will be getting databases, you will be getting operating systems, networkings. Okay, so how you are using those technologies in your project. So in my interview, I had an experience where like they were more focusing on how I have integrated the database into the Android application. Okay, so they are not interested in Android application at all. But what they are interested is when I told them that in my Android application I have used a database. Okay, so now tell me then what database you have used and why you have used this one. So these are the things that students need to focus, not on Android or which framework, and also about popular framework and some exceptional one. See, at least one popular framework or language like Java is recommended, because it will make the recruiter understand that you will easily able to adapt to the environment, because most likely they will be using those frameworks. But other than that, don't focus much on what frameworks to use or what technology to use much, but just focus on the core computer science concepts. And if you are applying for a startup which heavily rely on developer, that is, they don't give you any training, then you should prepare according to what tech stack they want or they work on.
Okay.
I would like to add something on this.
Yes, Bhaiya.
When recruiters come, they don't judge you on the basis of your tech stack. We always flow into the thing like which tech stack is better, and we always fall into this question, and we always try to learn the best tech stack possible. But the thing is, what recruiters judge you is going to judge you by the what is your project, what is the idea behind you choose this project, and why is this project is different from others. Like, is the project has to be some unique features in this, and you have to express the unique features. Coming back to the tech stack is helpful in the process. Like, if a company is using the similar tech stack, and if you have developed something within the same tech stack, then it will be helpful for you. That recruiter will find some edge over others, like you will get an edge over others. But the most important thing is the project idea, the why it is important, what are the important things you have done in this project. So this is more important thing rather than going for the tech stack. You can choose anything, it's more about what you are doing.
Okay, Bhaiya.
Okay, yeah, Tukan.
Also, I'd like to add something is that the people who are taking the interviews, they will try to tell them about all the group projects, not the projects that are doing single-handedly, because they are looking for a team player. Because when you are going to a company, you will be working in a team, in a group for a project. So they are looking for team players. So try to convince them, try to tell them that you work in a team and how you manage your own tasks that you assign to you, how you manage them. So that's like you have to say them about the teamwork, because they always look for someone who is a team player, who is easily easily adjustable with different groups of people.
Yeah.
Okay, one more point I would like to add to Tukan is this point, that he said that teamwork is important. But with respect to that, what interviewers want is that how you have contributed in that teamwork. We have heard in one of the talks we had this that you have to use the me approach instead of we approach. That how I have contributed to the team, how I have contributed in that group project. That is what they require. They definitely require group project, as Tukan has told earlier. But like for example, let me take an instance like I have done this part in that group project. I have developed this front end part in the group project. So go through that me approach in that group project, because they don't care what everyone others are doing. They want your job, right? They want you to be getting placed. So you have to use that me approach in that group projects. In individual projects, it's no problem, but in group project, always remember this.
Okay, thank you, Bhaiya. Now there's also like a doubt, which is almost like every second year or third year has, is that many successful seniors, as he writes, has said once resume must include at least 2-3 good projects by the interview time. What would be the number of good projects if you want to quantify that value? What would be that? And if you cannot quantify, then how many projects should be included for any Android or web, anything?
Two important projects. 2 good projects will be sufficient.
I want to add something.
Yes,
in terms of number of projects, make sure that what you are including in your CV should be sufficiently filled up and should not be cluttered, and it should not be like a book. Okay, so make projects accordingly. So you can add one project if you have quite a good number of achievement, like you have code forces rating, you have code safe rating a lot. You don't need to just crunch them in the fact that you want to add 3-4 projects. See, I had multiple projects, but I have to include only the few that were the best ones. And in terms of how good a project is, don't just add a note application, add a project with different diversity. For example, you are adding the first project, it contains a highly database, knowledge of database a lot. You are adding another project which involves some great level of knowledge about object-oriented programming or architectures. So that is the main thing you should focus. 2 projects, bare minimum, and add as many as you want. Just don't make your CV multi-page or too cluttered.
Thank you, Bhaiya. So other questions are more or less the same, like we have got the answers throughout this talk. There's like 2 more questions, like I would like to generalize them. For Android development or web development, what roadmap would you suggest? Where to start? A roadmap for the beginners.
Okay, for web, can I start? Yeah.
Yes, sure.
So basically, you go for basic front end through. You can go through a site called as Free Code Camp. It is a very good site if you want to learn basic front end or basic JavaScript skills. Because first and foremost, if you're going, you should learn the basics of HTML and CSS for front end. Then if you want to go for JavaScript, I will always refer you to go through some challenges in JavaScript, solve some problems in JavaScript. Even if it means certain, like if you solve certain problems, then you get to know the syntax. Like there are so many different things in that syntax. There is maps and spread apart and many things. So what happens is that when you learn JavaScript properly, it will help in every aspect. If you're learning a framework, if you're learning a backend Node.js or anything, just be clear in your JavaScript, because if you're not clear in your JavaScript, you will face a lot of issues. Then apart from that, when you are going through Node.js, I would like to suggest certain Udemy courses, like if you go through Andrew courses, then you go through all the theoretical points in the Andrew courses. Basically, that what can you learn? Means he has a very good explanation regarding all the theoretical points. Like if you're learning Node.js, you can go through the why is call stack event loop used in Node.js, how it is asynchronous, and those factors regarding that. And second point is that if you want to go for a full stack integration with Node.js and front end part, like first try to use some template engines. It will be much easier to integrate rather than using any frameworks. So if you're using any template engines like EJS, .hbs, or certain types of templates engine are there, you can do that. And secondly, now then you can move on to certain frameworks like React, Angular, Vue. Now, if you are coming apart from Node.js, if you are using any Django, then try to use the inbuilt models that are there in Django. Try to use the Django admin section, and everything to create those, integrate those things and those templates that are there in the Django. So you learning anything is easy, but just you need to know the architecture, that how we are building those application. So that is what I would like to say. Ankit, you can continue, and Tukan, if you want to add any points.
Yeah, so what I want to say is, first, any student from first year, by the end of first year, he or she should learn at least the HTML CSS part, the basic of HTML CSS part. Then moving forward, one should learn the JavaScript. JavaScript doesn't take too much time, but you have to go through it. There are various parts in JavaScript. When you start, you will know about it, because everyone always start from C, C++ in coding section. Then you will see a various other things from different from C, C++ in JavaScript. You have very good functions in very good feasibility in JavaScript, so you can use that. After that, you have to decide what you are more comfortable in. If you are more comfortable in front end or in back end. If you are in front end, then you can choose any framework to do. Or if you are in back end, then you can choose anyone like Node.js, PHP, or anything. It's depend upon person again. Then coming back to, if you want to be a full stack developer, you want to have the knowledge of both front end as well as back end, then you again have to choose any template engine, or you can choose any framework. But the most important thing, if you are going for development, but you have to learn coding skills, but you have to have some coding skills, not coding skills. What I mean by coding skill is, you must have the knowledge of data structures and algorithm. Data structures and algorithm are like the building blocks of something, of your career. It's not like if you can only learn the development, like the web development, if you can only learn this, then you will get good placement. You have to have the knowledge of this data structures and algorithm. This is the most important thing. Then you can choose if you want to go in competitive coding, or you can have both competitive coding as well as development. This is the best pathway, I guess. Okay. You can add Tukan if you want to add.
Okay, it's enough, I guess. One more is that
for the Android,
I learned is that W3 schools. You can also go and search W3 schools.
Yeah, there are various other platforms like Udemy, W3 schools. You can choose.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of Android application development, just like we have talked before, for beginners, it is better to start with Java. So I would say that for first and second year student, I will only give the advice that if you're starting with Android application development, first learn the Java up to the interface part, object-oriented programming up to the interface part, multi-threading if you want, otherwise don't, up to the interface part. And other than that, take a Udemy course. I would say raw Perceval courses are very good. So you can just take a Udemy course, but don't follow them like line by line. Take them as a reference. Install the Android Studio and start making its application. But just make sure that you know Java before. And for third year student, I will just suggest it is high time. You have to just create a project and just pick up any course and just start coding. There is no shortcut for that. And about the Flutter, if you are good at Java and then you are already developing an Android application, then it will hardly take about 1 month for you to make a good Flutter app if you are dedicated enough. So don't worry much that directly jump into Flutter. You can start with Java and just within a month you can shift to Flutter or any other cross-platform application, because you know the knowledge, what are views and other things. And one more thing I would just want to add, the importance of a good object-oriented programming. So I've seen many Android developers got job, but not because of their Android skills, but because the Java skills they develop from the Android. So since Java is extensively used, so just keep your Java strong and just pick up any Udemy course and start.
Okay. Madam, any thoughts on this?
I think
Madam is connected, I guess.
His voice is not coming.
His voice is having a problem today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So due to lack of time, we can take just one more question, and we have to end the session because we have our open source session coming up from 6 p.m. So the last question that I choose is that how to find like-minded people for group projects. If I have an idea, for example, for an app, how do I present my idea so that people take interest in collaborating in it?
So I want to like to go for this because I came from electrical background and I have the difficulty to find the right like-minded people. So this is the best to find the like-minded people is joining DSC. If you join DSC from second year, you will get a lot of like-minded people and you will get the knowledge. Because if you have some good 5-6 developer friends, then you can get the idea of theirs. That will help your that will help a lot in your personal development, and this will help a lot. you can just go in room to room to find your friends which is doing that and who is doing this. The best way is joining DSC and doing this development field.
We agree with him.
I want to
We
add
agree,
a
we
little thing. If you want to find like-minded people, also focus on hackathons. In your first and second year, do focus on hackathon extensively. You can see right in the panel, Manish, Tukan, Ankit, Myring, we have went to multiple hackathons in Guwahati, in Bangalore. We have won multiple hackathons. So once you go into flow of hackathons in first, second year, or maybe third year, then you will definitely move forward and you will create a great application, lot of great applications.
Thank you, Bhaiya. So we had a great session today. I would just want a one-line ending note from each of you. How was your experience, and what one-line tip that you would like to give to your juniors? Tukan Bhaiya, starting from you.
Yeah, I'd just like to share the motto of DSC, that is connect, learn, and grow. Means like connect with connect with the like-minded people, and then learn from each other. And then after learning, grow. Grow means try to implement whatever you have learned into real life, solving real life problems for the society, for the community, and then simultaneously grow your skills, your communication skills, everything. So I'd like to give as an advice to everyone.
Nazimul Bhaiya, your thought on this?
Well, I will just add 2 lines. See, coding is not just opening the ID and starting to code. It involves presentation making, it involves talking with people, even having quarrel with professors too. So it involves a lot of things. Developers means handling a lot of things. And another thing I want to add is students in first year are too confused with what to do. Android, web, ML, they are a lot confused. Somebody go to ML to get, they feel like it is a great job, or web and so on. Just don't focus much. Give a brief look and just choose a project and start, because that by the time you realize, you will have a very less amount of time to learn a proper project or proper field.
Yeah. Okay. Ankit Bhaiya, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so what I like to add on this, if you are joining DSC or if you are going to DSC, think about this one very hugely, because like suppose what I have done, I have taken 3 years to do something. So what happens to the juniors, if I am teaching them, they should take less amount of time to learn this, because I am teaching them, I am telling them all the important things which they will face the hurdle. So if their junior will face the less amount of time, then only the club will grow higher and higher. This should be the idea behind the DSC, to help each others. That's the best motto, I guess, for the DSC.
Manish Bhaiya, a last time tip for the juniors?
Development is not spoon feeding. You have to go through a problem. Even if you are taught many things, even if you have attended class, if you haven't gone through if you haven't debugged a thing for 1 day or for few hours, then you haven't learned any development. That's all I would like to say. And I'd like to add that it's not about the age factor also. We had created the developer student club when we were in second year. We still don't believe it. And because that is the thing, because our thoughts were the main thing, that we thought that we will create something, we'll make a change in our college. So we initiated developer student club when we were just in second year. And today our juniors are taking it forward, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Myring Bhaiya, his mic is not working, so he gave his last line as to everyone: find your best developer friends and keep learning together. So thank you to all the seniors for joining this session. It has been a great session, and we have got a great response from the people as well. I guess they have got their doubts cleared, and if anyone has not got their doubts cleared, please drop a message to us on the DSC FB page. We'll surely connect you to the seniors, and they can surely talk you out through. Thank you everyone for joining. Yes, Bhaiya.
I want to clear the biggest doubt in the developers community: competitive coding or developer, which is better? I would say you are asking the wrong question. You should ask how to balance both competitive coding and development.
Yeah.
That should be the main.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you to all the moderators for being present as well. Thank you to the seniors. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, seniors. Thank you.
Thanks to all the moderators, and you have done commendable work.
Yeah. Thanks for the DSC.
Great session. Yeah.
Milind, I guess we can end the live stream now. Thank you.
We should have live stream